It has been announced that November 24 will mark the start of a national Clean Up Albania operation, utilising the involvement also of the state police. During his visit to Macedonia, President Edi Rama met with all the heads of Albanian political parties, emphasising their key role in the stability of the country. Mayor of Tirana, Erion Veliaj, met with the Mayor of Parma, Federico Pizzarotti, and announced a cultural, economic and technological partnership between the two cities. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Tuesday the 21st of November 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. International justice institutions have been brought into the debate regarding the mandate of the Chief Prosecutor, which is nearing its completion. As part of the justice reform, the law now states that the High Council of the Prosecutor's Office is the body that elects the new Chief Prosecutor. However, at this stage, the institution has not yet been established. Given the unprecedented situation, the international justice institutions, Euralius and Opdat, have been sought out for assistance to interpret the most appropriate actions by Parliament according to the law. The mandate of the current Chief Prosecutor, Adriatic Lala, ends on December 7th, and at this stage, both Euralius and Opdat have failed to find any legislation provisioning an extension of the mandate. Article 109, paragraphs 1 and 2 of the Law on Prosecution states, the acting General Prosecutor is in office until the end of his mandate, and if the mandate expires before the creation of the High Prosecutor's Office, then the Assembly temporarily appoints one of the most experienced prosecutors to fulfil the functions of the Chief Prosecutor, if he or she who meets the criteria of Chapter 4, Section 1 of the Law on Prosecution. Based on this, the advice of the internationals is that Lala's mandate is to end on December 7th. With the departure of Adriatic Lala, the Assembly has to determine the criteria for selecting the temporary Chief Prosecutor and how many votes needed for parliamentary approval of the candidate. The law outlines the required criteria for moral conduct, professional experience, and the required skills for the selection of the Chief Prosecutor. The criteria set out in the articles includes provisions for the candidate to be pure in terms of decriminalisation laws, have no links to communist politics, have not been convicted of any crimes, and have no disciplinary action taken during their political career. Additional skills which will hold a candidate in higher regard are set out in Article 27, which includes such elements such as scientific titles and knowledge of foreign languages. Regarding voting in Parliament, experts find that there is no provision regulating this issue other than Article 55, paragraph 1 of the Parliamentary Regulation. In conclusion, Euralius and Opdat have confirmed that a new temporary Chief Prosecutor should be appointed based on the candidate's merit according to the outlined criteria. Should a candidate receive a positive vote in the form of a simple majority, that is 36 votes from 71 members present, the appointment as temporary Chief Prosecutor will be made. The vetting process does not aim to put Albanian prosecutors and judges in jail, but will be the starting point for investigations and criminal charges for those found to be corrupt or related to criminals. This was the statement made by Genoveva Ruiz Calavera, the head of the International Monitoring Mission for the vetting process of judges and prosecutors in Albania. In an interview with German media Deutsche Welle, Calavera states that all prosecutors will be assessed using vetting criteria. Even the General Prosecutor and members of the Constitutional Court will not be excluded from this process. We strongly hope that at the end of the process we will be able to identify judges and prosecutors related to organised crime. The process itself is to filter them out of the justice system. Vetting does not put them in jail, but the consequences of vetting will be the start of investigations and the launch of relative criminal charges. My role is to ensure vetting is conducted honestly and independently from political interference, said Calavera. Calavera stressed that there is no deadline, but that the vetting continues and is a fair process where judges and prosecutors are given the opportunity to explain their position. November 24 will mark the launch of a national purification operation for Albania with the involvement of state police. The head of the government, Edi Rama, when presenting this operation, spoke of a concerning environmental situation regarding waste landfill. Regarding environmental permits, Rama said that 1,000 were granted without respecting legal criteria. 1,000 environmental permits were released despite criteria for approval not being met. No monitoring of such permits has occurred, and that is why today we have such a dramatic situation across the territory. Today, official figures state that an individual generates 400 kilograms of waste per year, of which 40 kilograms are recycled, and the rest, who knows where it goes. 9,100 garbage dump sites have been aerially photographed in Albanian territory. We must utilise all opportunities to be more dynamic with sustainable development, said Edi Rama. The Minister of Environment and Tourism, Rama Klosi, emphasised that clean-up campaigns will start with smaller municipalities and went on to guarantee that all environmental permits that have been issued will be reviewed by January 31. The Clean Up Albania operation will extend across the country and last for a period of 6 months. Democratic Party Vice Chairman Edi Rama said that Prime Minister Edi Rama is remaining silent on what his political force has referred to as a scandal. That is, the alleged bargaining and vote buying by the Mayor of Durrës, Vanjush Tako. The Prime Minister will remain silent until he fully infiltrates the prosecution, said Edi Rama. Rama said that Rama gives political protection to the incriminated because all the scandals involving members of the Socialist Party can be traced back to him. The Democratic Deputy Chairman said that the fight against crime can only be guaranteed following the removal of Rama. Albanian President Ilir Meta has held separate meetings with representatives of Albanian political parties in Macedonia. The head of state met with the DUI leader Ali Ahmeti, with BESA leader Bilal Kasami, with the Alliance for Albanians chairman Ziadin Sela, as well as the ADP leader Mendu Thaci. During the meetings with Albanian party leaders, Ilir Meta emphasised the irreplaceable role of the Albanian political force for inter-ethnic harmony in Macedonia. He also underlined the importance of collaboration and constructive dialogue for the future of all political forces, especially regarding the Euro-Atlantic integration perspective of Macedonia. The link between the integration of Balkan countries and security in the region was also emphasised. During the visit to Macedonia, Meta met with the Macedonian opposition leader, Nikola Gruevski, who stressed the importance of the opposition's role in all Macedonia's Euro integration processes. The Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Damian Gjiknouri, has announced that a feasibility study for the Adriatic-Ionian Highway has now begun. The news was announced after a meeting in Podgorica with the Minister of Transport and Navy and the Minister of Economy. We discussed road infrastructure projects, and both countries have the Adriatic-Ionian Highway as a priority project. We have received the necessary funding to make the final feasibility study. I was also informed of infrastructure development projects in Montenegro that directly affect connections with Albania. I raised the problems requiring the attention of the Montenegrin side in order to complete the secondary roads connecting border points with Albania, said Gjiknouri. The minister also said that work is being done to establish a merged border point at Hani Hotit, as is already available at Muriçan. There are concrete steps, and I believe that very soon this will become a reality thanks to the commitment of the respective governments and institutions. Also, the Montenegrin side presented us a development project for Shkodra Lake, an integrated project that includes elements of tourism, agriculture and navigation. I think this is a project that we must push forward, said Damian Gjiknouri. Speaking about the joint project of the Ionian Adriatic Pipeline, Gjiknouri said that a joint venture company will be established and that the project will be concluded before the two countries' governments meet this spring. The head of the municipality of Parma, Federico Pizzarotti, after thanking Mayor Velia for the hospitality, expressed his satisfaction for the friendly relations that exist between the two municipalities while praising the transformation of Skanderberg Square. We talked about culture, economics and new technologies that make our cities more livable. After almost a year, I appreciate this fantastic square and the fact that it is a pedestrian area, providing more sustainability and a space for citizens, said Federico Pizzarotti. Meanwhile, Velia pointed out that Parma is today one of the most developed cities in Italy, allowing Tirana to gain valuable experience, especially regarding transport and tourism. We want to understand a little better the challenges of mobility, public transport, digitalisation of the city, and how this has helped to transform the city of Parma. We also want to learn a lot about tourism and how the city can be transformed through tourism, how rural areas can live from agro-tourism, and how to enjoy the culinary experience. By learning from the best, we can become even better, said Erion Veliai. Pizzarotti emphasised that during a return visit to Parma, a document will be signed formalising the partnership between the two cities. That's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.